Legendary weapons have a hidden damage multiplier against arc weak spots. Most players already know the standard weak spot numbers in arc raiders. Hitting arc cores, power cells or gas canisters gives you 50% bonus damage. There are also smaller multipliers on other parts. Laser eyes of smaller flying arc propellers, shredder thrusters, and the area around the power cell on Bastion and Bombardier take 20% more damage. Those normal multipliers also apply to legendary Aphelion. In that sense, the Aphelion behaves like a normal gun. But from my testing, the Equalizer, Dolabra and Jupiter have much higher damage multipliers on official arc weak spots, and I have never seen that being talked about. Normal guns get 50% bonus damage on cores, power cells and gas canisters. The Equalizer, Jupiter and the Dolabra get a plus 125% bonus. A full mech of the Equalizer or the Dolabra normally do 400 damage, but against those official weak spots they do 900. One mech of the Jupiter will do 675, so less damage, but since the base damage of the Jupiter is 60 per shot, the multiplier is still 125%. That being said, in practice the Jupiter often does more than that for two reasons. First, it fires 3 laser beams, and if those beams hit different arc parts, the damage stacks. Second, the Jupiter beams penetrate arc parts, so if you hit the core first and then hit another part behind it, the Jupiter adds damage from both hits. Now, this much higher legendary damage multiplier only applies to official weak spots, the parts that make the specific sound when you hit them, like cores, power cells and gas canisters. If you shoot flying arc propellers or shredder thrusters with legendary weapons, you still get the normal 20% bonus that other guns get. That said, there is one other body part in arc that is officially treated as weak spot. The knees of the Queen, Matriarch, Bastion and Bombardier. And this is where things get weird. Most players do not realize that also the knees are officially weak spots. Normal weapons actually do less damage to them. If you hit an exposed yellow knee, you do 25% less damage. And on a Queen and Matriarch, the knees are first protected by armor plates. Even after you break those off, there is still a silver cover over the knees. And shooting that cover does 40% less damage. So for example, an anvil shot normally does 40 damage. If you hit the knee while the silver cover is still on, you do only 24 damage, and even after the cover is destroyed, hitting the exposed yellow knee still gives you only 30 damage per shot. Yes, there is an extra reward for fully destroying a leg, but in my opinion that only makes sense against the Bastion. The Queen and Matriarch can still move well enough with multiple legs destroyed, so focusing the knees usually is not worth it. But because the knees are still officially classified as weak spots, legendary weapons do get extra damage modifiers on them. With the Jupiter, hitting the exposed yellow knee gives you 88% bonus damage. And if you hit the knee while the silver cover is still on, you can actually do even more damage. One Jupiter shot does 135 damage there, which is 125% above its 60 base damage. The most likely reason is that for the game the silver cover and the yellow knee count as two separate parts, and the Jupiter penetrating beams are stacking damage in both. The Dolabra and Equalizer behave differently. On the knee with the silver cover still on, they get the same 40% damage reduction as a normal weapon. But on the exposed yellow knee, instead of taking the normal 25% damage penalty, they actually get a 12% damage buff. And no, those hidden legendary advantages are not the only reason these weapons are strong against arc. Most legendary energy weapons also do not get reduced by medium armor, and they are far better at stripping armor plates. Dolabra is the exception here because it behaves more like a heavy ammo weapon, and its damage is reduced by medium armor, such as shredder armor. But Aphelion, Jupiter and Equalizer are extremely strong against armor plates. For example, it takes about 10 Aphelion bursts to destroy one Bastion armor plate. That is the equivalent of about 500 damage. To destroy the same plate with a Renegade takes 47 shots or about 1645 damage. So in that comparison, the Aphelion is about 3.3 times more efficient at deleting the plate. But I will cover armor types in a separate guide, because there are a lot of misunderstandings there too. Most players do not even realize that Arc Raiders has different armor types, and a lot of people still think some parts are armored when they're actually soft spots. So the big takeaway here is this: legendary energy weapons are not just stronger against Arc because they are legendary. On official Arc weak spots, most of them get much bigger multipliers than normal guns. And if you understand where those bonuses do and do not apply, it changes which gun is actually best for each arc.